Well, hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I am back at this spot where not too long ago in a video I tried to get some Australian shorebirds. Now the last time I was badly underprepared because I didn't do my research. What I should have realised the last time I was here and I had no luck shooting these birds. I was here at the wrong time of day, the wrong time of tide, the birds weren't feeding, hence why I couldn't see anything. But however, during that video, it wasn't a complete waste because I ended up getting some really fast flying birds like these swallows that were over in the dunes, as well as this woolly wagtail, and they were feasting on these insects. It was a really good day, it turned out to be anyway. But I've come back here today and I've done my research with these type of birds that I'm looking for, these Australian shorebirds. They feed on the incoming tide. Now the tide is just starting to come in. It's starting to get into about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so they're probably starting to get hungry. They want to get a bit of food. So yeah, I've come back here with the Nikon Z52 with the Nikon Z 180 to 600mm lens to see how I go. So I've been to this location before and you get a really varied type of species of bird that fly along here. Everything from white-bellied seagulls to ospreys, to terns, seagulls, you get pied oystercatchers. I've also shot sooty oystercatchers in this location before. That's the thing with bird photography, you've got to be patient, you've just got to wait until they come along and then they'll start feeding. Now, of course, this coastline is so huge, the chances of me getting a bird diving in front of me and catching a fish or whatever is probably remote, but I'm here and I'm going to give it a go. Okay, here we go. This looks like our first bird of the day. Just getting it flying in. Okay, so this is, by the looks, it's an Australian pied oystercatcher. They are really beautiful. So this bird has just landed on the sand here. Oh, look at it. I love the way it uses its beak. It's just kind of like jackhammering into the sand and it's getting, what has it got? Oh, it's got a little pippy. So these shells that this pied oystercatcher has got, we call them pippies here in Australia, but they're like a little mollusk, and inside is like this really soft meat. And we actually use those for fishing too because they're great bait for things like whiting and bream here in the surf. Now, how in the world does this bird know where these pippies are? They're buried so deep in the sand. How does it know where those shells are? I mean, those shells are really deep down in the sand. It's like they've got this sixth sense. They know where it is and they kind of like hover over it. They jackhammer into the sand with that big red beak of theirs and then, you know, suck it out. Here it is. It's just having another go. The wave just almost took it out, it just took off. It's such a beautiful bird. It's such a shame too because I understand they're actually endangered in New South Wales here in Australia. But they frequent along this coastline and that's what they go for. They go for those little pippies, as well as they look for things like crabs and sandworms as well. Sandworms are along this beach like you wouldn't believe. Okay, so I saw some terns flying along here before, and what they're doing is they're going down the coastline and then they use the wind. The wind is blowing this way. They come back into the wind and they hover. And I was getting some B-roll just down here before with these islands and I saw one of these terns, you know, dive into the water. So with these terns, what they do is they fly along the coastline and they hover. just very close to the water, and then they pick their moment, they'll dive into the water, and they go for fish around about 5 to 8 centimetres long, and then they'll either swallow it straight away or they'll fly back to the sandbank and they'll eat it from there. Okay, so I've got some terns. There's 2 terns flying along here. They're going out into the water. They're a little bit far away, but I'm going to do my best to try and get a shot of them. There we go, one's going to dive into the water. It's got a fish. So the other tern has followed it onto the beach. This tern has got a fish. This other tern is after it saying, you know, give me a bit of fish, I want a bit of fish too. Oh, these are great shots. So with the Z52 before, when I saw that tern go in, I just had a look back on the camera. It captured the tern just before it hit the water. As it hit the water, it went out of focus. With this coastline, because it's so broad, you just have to, you know, be very patient. You have to wait for the birds to come along. It's no good chasing after the birds, because if they're chasing schools of fish, those schools of fish will move, and so it's better just to stay in the one spot and wait for them to come back to you. So I'm glad I didn't go and chase those terns down that way, and I waited for them to come back to here. Well, it's been a very interesting afternoon here. I've seen quite a few birds. There was an osprey that flew over me, but it actually flew over behind me and it was into the sun, so I didn't even bother trying to shoot it because it was just too harshly backlit. But those terns before, diving into the water in front of me and then having a bit of a fight on the beach here was quite funny. The other thing is I love that Australian pied oystercatcher. That was just amazing, the way it had that sense of being able to see those pippies and have a feed. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't seen the video on how I like to set up the Nikon Z52 for bird photography, I'm going to leave you that video right here. As I always say, never stop creating. I'll see you next time.